Welcome to the Heather Breach Podcast. I'm your host, Case Familiarity, and we talk everything offensive security. We're recording live at Black Hat, and today I'm here with Brent White. Brent is a senior principal security consultant and covert entry specialist at Dark Wolf Solutions. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for asking me.
I've been around enough pen testers, covert entry specialists to know that the physical security always has the best story.
Yeah.
So give us a really good physical.
Oh, so one of the really cool ones that happened with my best friend and coworker Tim Roberts, who wasn't able to make it yet. We run the We Hack People website. We were talking about covert entry, social engineering. We do a lot of training videos on that. So we were at a particular client, and we were obviously assessing one of their main buildings. They had installed a lot of new security systems and so on. And so during our recon part, it was actually over Super Bowl. And so we happened to be in our hotel watching the game and looking out the window and realized that if we got a specific room, we could hop over onto the roof of the target building. So that's what we did. We ended up getting that room. We jumped onto the roof and were able to enter through the stairwell from the roof.
That door was just unlocked up there.
You
could always go in, but you
couldn't go out. So the thumb turn to lock the door was actually on the roof. So we just went and unlocked the door and went in after hours, which is what we typically do at first. So that was probably one of the more interesting ways of entry recently.
Holy ninja style.
It was cool. It was at night. Here we are climbing out windows, throwing our bags to each other. There were some high-rise apartment buildings around, and so in my mind, I'm looking around and I can see people through their windows, watching TV and stuff. And I'm thinking, I just know someone's going to call the police and be like, "Hey, there's guys on this roof. It's weird." But in typical people fashion, no one paid attention and no one cared, so we were good.
So once you got into the building, you, like most physical engagements, you have some sort of flag. So was your flag just to get into the building, but from there, did you put an implant in? Did you do anything more?
So that's a really good question about the flags. So one thing that we have made a habit of doing is asking the client, because we've realized a lot of times if you don't kind of direct, they'll be like, "Well, just see if you can get in." Okay, well, what do you want us to go after? So what we do now is we'll say, just put some Post-it notes. Don't tell us where they are. Put them around somewhere, but put them on objects that you're okay with us taking away. And so, for example, we did a bank in a large city. And so once we made our way through the floors, by the time we were done, we had an office chair. We had it was like a $500 juice machine that I unplugged while people were using it in the break room, and no one asked questions. We had a monitor. And so it was a handful of items that as we would bring something down, we would ask security, "Hey, we're moving some stuff. Can you keep an eye on this for us?" Sure, not a problem. So on our day where we start to increase to make more noise, just to give the client a chance to catch us, we have all these things with Post-its on it, and we're pushing all this stuff through the lobby of a bank out to the street of a major city. And so that is something that we do once we're in. There are also other things where if it's, the server rooms, like the key, or getting into certain offices and finding access cards or phones or laptops or anything like that, it kind of just depends on what the overall goal is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What is probably the most common method that you use to gain initial access into building?
If it's during business hours, people will often let us in.
Tailgating or just
tailgating, but there's
asking.
Yeah, but there's a bit of a caveat to that. If you talk to a lot of people, they'll be like, "Hey, I would be really good at this job. I follow so-and-so in this building. They didn't ask." That is a method, but we go beyond that. Something that we'll do is we'll do our recon, and we slowly kind of introduce our faces to people. So by the time we're actually making a move, you've seen us around
So you're building
places. Yeah.
or essentially before.
Yeah. And so if I come in the door with you, I'm like, you've seen me at lunch. You've seen me in areas where I'm a familiar face. So we kind of build it up that way. We don't just walk in cold. We have before, but we found that if we slowly introduce ourselves, like without you even realizing that's what we're doing, it works a lot better.
What are some of those ways that you're introducing yourself? Just showing up, asking questions? Like,
yeah. So
method.
in our reconnaissance, we'll figure out where are the popular spots for coffee, lunch, whatever. And so we'll start hanging out at those places. And let's say if I've identified you as someone that has access to a room that I need, sounds very creepy. This is a very odd way to do it, but it's what happens. So I will slowly, like if you're at lunch, I will get next to you in line and I'll be like, man, I had that sandwich last week and it was really good. Have you ever had it? And you're like, oh, so just a random conversation, something you won't think about when we're done talking. And then I'll just kind of some more things like, oh, hey man, how was lunch? Just keep going. But I will slowly build it in that way, but never a one-on-one like, hey, what is your name? What do you do? It's just very random, like normal social interactions.
Okay. Does that work best when you have like multiple days where you can gain entry, build rapport to eventually get to the flag or the place that you want to be? Say it's like the data center, because you said lunchroom, and I'm thinking like, well, if I'm in an organization, right, in a break room or a lunchroom or something like that, you need to get initial access in order to get there, right? So
right.
Multi-day engagements.
So in cases where they do have cafes and stuff inside, then typically we'll talk to people outside in smoke areas. We'll clone badges or just kind of follow people in while we're talking to them. And then we'll start hanging out in that area. But sometimes you can kind of tell if that's going to work or not just by the culture. So we'll watch people. If people just seem like the life has been drained out of them, no one cares, we know that no one's going to care if we just come in. But if it's somewhere where they are more vigilant and they're watching to see if someone's tailgating or scanning a badge, we know it's going to take a little bit more time. So it really kind of depends on our approach with that. So
yeah, that makes sense.
It does take multiple days to do it well.
Nice.
Yeah.
In your recon and prep work, like what are you looking to achieve and like how long does that take on average?
That's a good question. Well, I'll start with what we are looking to achieve.
I'd say typical regional bank, for example, typical corporate offices.
Okay, typical corporate offices are the easiest, hands down. Cultures are typically the same. People's attitudes are typically the same. They're at work. A lot of them might not want to be there, or they're just ready to get home. They're thinking about, I need to go pick up my kid from school, or I've got this meeting. And so they're very distracted, and anything that slows that down is an inconvenience to them, and they will avoid it altogether. So in saying that, if I am acting like I can't badge in and I'm in front of them, they're just going to badge in and let me in too, because it's the natural instinct to be nice and to help, and they have stuff to do, like get out of their way, So when that kind of environment, I'd say maybe a day or two. It's pretty fast because it's kind of a rinse and repeat situation, unfortunately.
Got it.
So
now, what is probably the typical profile or mindset of an individual that would stop you, that wouldn't? That's you like, no, you can't tailgate me. No, you need to badge in.
That's good. So I feel like I'm going to say it depends on a lot of your questions.
Sure.
But it kind of depends on the area where we're at in the U.S. So typically, if we're more northeast, people are a bit more vigilant. Like the security guards are more aware, or you'll have individuals who are like, hey, usually in the South or Midwest, people want to help, or they just typically don't pay attention. Kind of similar with West Coast too. So, but what we found as far as like the actual people, it is not security guards. People think it is. We often go for them first. Because if you can clone their badge or get their physical keys, which we do, that's the keys to the kingdom because they have access to everything. So it is often older women, honestly. They tend to be more, I don't know if it's like the overwatching, like caring, motherly, like, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it is older women that will say something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And let's talk about the tools that you use for a little bit. You mentioned badge cloning.
Yeah.
What are you using to clone badges nowadays?
Well, we have a few tools. I'm sure most people have heard of the flipper, the little orange IR toy. You can clone near frequency badges or low frequency. As with most of them, you have to actually like have it right on the badge. We've gotten pretty creative with how to do that. We also have Proxmark readers, which will do high and low frequency. And we have some that we've built as well that are, you know, if you're going into a parking garage and the square, like the big gray square badge reader,
large antenna.
we have one of those that we've made that will carry around in a bag to try and get more distance. Yeah.
Got it.
But that's really about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you tend to end up using more so nowadays, the Proxmark or the flipper?
If it's something really quick, like if we're out at lunch and you have your badge hanging and I can get close enough in a way, then I'll just grab the flipper. It's really fast. We also have some custom ones that we've made where it has like the external antenna, and we'll hide that in things like Starbucks coffee cups or like a muffin bag from Starbucks. If we're outside talking and you have your lanyard on, and I'll show you real quick, if we're like, oh, hey man, did you just get the new badge today? And you're like, oh yeah, I just went and got that. Because it's so natural. It's like, oh yeah, is it? Or if they have sports team, or if they have a company name on their lanyard, I'll just start talking about the company and be like, oh yeah, I had an interview there last month. And you know, yeah.
Now, you're always prepared, and you know, as you came in, you have a backpack. Yeah. In that backpack, you have a bunch of different gear and tools.
Yeah.
You're always ready to go.
Always.
Just wondering if, like, is Brent gonna knock, or is he just gonna like walk in and appear
Behind the curtain. Yeah. I was here.
So, talk about some of these tools.
I'll talk about this first. So,
Listen, if you made it this far, I'm just going to ask you for one favor. Most of you listening right now haven't subscribed. Go ahead, feed that algorithm, and support us by clicking subscribe. Doing so allows me to bring you great content and allows us to bring more exceptional guests onto the podcast. Go ahead, hit subscribe. I appreciate it.
this is very simple. It is a wig, and there are specific wigs, obviously, because of my hair color, the color of my facial hair. If I were to get a jet black wig, it would look extremely unnatural.
Right.
I have a few different styles. This one I call my Robert Redford wig. But yeah, so it's a little dirty, but so this one is really quick. When you throw that on, you want me to put it on?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Don't mess up your beautiful hair.
Oh yeah, yeah, I spent hours on it. So, you know, if you get it just right, you kind of have to push it down, make sure you have the hairline just right. And then this is very gimmicky, but in a camera and in low light, it works really well. And then of course, with a hat. So the reason I choose a hat like this, and I'll usually have some dark glasses, already the shape of my face has changed a bit.
Yeah.
I have a very tall hat, I've got some crazy hair, and at first glance, I have a bunch of tattoos. So what we'll do in this case is when we're doing reconnaissance, I'll have something like this on. I'm wearing a black t-shirt now, so what I would do is the reverse. I would have like something long sleeve and white or a very bright color, but not like a Hawaiian shirt because I don't want to stand out.
Attention,
right. And then I'll have a little stuff sack like in a pocket. And so as I turn a corner, if I feel like I need to change my appearance, what I will do, you know, I'll just pull this off, grab this, take off my jacket, stuff it in a bag, come around the corner, and the roofing contractor doesn't come out. It's me with my short hair and just a little backpack, and I just go. It doesn't have
Change in appearance mid engagement.
Yes.
Constant.
Yes. So we have on We Hack People, our website, so we have a lot of our recorded talks, a lot of video clips and tutorials on how to exploit things and how to fix them as well. So we have a video of one of our assessments where I was doing recon from a distance, and they were pretty vigilant. We noticed 2 guys approaching the area. We thought maybe they were coming to ask us what we're doing. And so I left. I already had my route planned. And so I had a corner in like this long hallway. And so we have a video of that on the website. So it's just a very quick change. It doesn't have to be Jason Bourne or Mission Impossible, just because their eyes are looking for a different profile than what I quickly can become. So it's just very, this is called a superficial change. So,
Okay.
yeah.
What other tools you have over there?
Oh, yeah. So I'm really proud of this. A lot of the research that we've done is taking gear from a backpack and condensing it in a way where I essentially have everything I need while I'm wearing plain clothes. This I can wear with swimming trunks, and you can't.
That's extremely low profile.
You can't tell. So this is a concealed carry belt made for special operators and undercover. And so when I utilize this along with covert instruments, which are friends of ours, we do a lot of product testing and things for them. And so I've essentially gone from a backpack with multiple tools with big handles that it's like a big tool bag that I'm having to dig through to this. And so one item that I have here, Slim Jim for shimming the door open. I also have multiple bypass tools. I have like the decoder. I have the American padlock bypasses. I have a rake for dimple locks. I even have a little pry bar. I have a lot of things to open mortise locks, like the Adams Right bypass. Like this basically covers every major door installation and configuration and popular padlocks as a quick bypass. If I don't have the proper tools in there, then I will go for a more manual testing manual opening with my lock picks.
Got it.
And so these are various lock picks from Covert Instruments that we've gone through quite a few sets that they've made, and I've found the tensioners and the tools and everything that I am able to use best.
Got it. So you're not packing in the 150, piece lockpick set. This is, what is this? Probably about 20 pieces, not even, maybe?
Yeah. So I have about 10 or 11 different style of tensioners. I mean, so I see a lot of different things. So I even have this really long, wonky tensioner that a lot of people don't tend to keep with them. But yeah, this covers most scenarios. Well, I think I haven't had a scenario where one of these hasn't helped at this point.
And also we got to keep in mind the average clientele that you are working with, may not be the mom and pop donut shop. It's going to be higher end security as well.
Yes.
Government buildings and things like that. So I'm guessing you're seeing a higher grade of locks and
very much. Yes.
Build your toolkit.
Right.
The general target that you have.
Yeah, there are, when we do go through detectors and things before we enter certain buildings, I won't go into that, but there are ways that we handle that as well. I have the good old multi-tool, if I need to take a bolt off or unscrew something or cut something. And then even more bypass tools, again, from Covert Instruments where, for multiple locks, basically, more bypass tools. You talked about the higher security thing. A lot of people don't realize, so these are different styles of gaffer tape. They don't leave residue. I can do a lot with these. Alarm bypass, weakened doors. But I actually keep some of this in my wallet. I I call it my covert entry wallet.
Okay.
And I even have tools that I keep in there that go everywhere with me. I've got lock picks. I have my favorite is this plastic door shim that, yeah. So it's been years of research getting a big bag down to essentially that I can keep.
And if you're listening, you can't see this. This looks like 1, 2, 3, like 4 wallets essentially, about the size.
Yeah.
Of this, and you strap this to your leg or underneath your shirt.
It goes in my waist, so you can't see it. I also have, I have certain clothes like these pants and some others from a company called Vertex. It's VRTX.
Okay.
They're made for concealed carry against special operators and things. There are pockets on this that I can put these in, and I don't need this, and you can't tell that I'm wearing them.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of research in that area that has really helped, because typically if you're carrying around a backpack and trying to go somewhere, it's after hours, someone's like, what are you doing?
Right.
But if you're just hanging out and you don't have anything on you, but maybe your phone, it's, less attention.
Yeah. That's a really cool toolkit.
Thanks.
Covert instruments, you said?
Covert Instruments makes a lot of this, and this is from a company called Vertex, VRTX.
And how often are you like doing physical alterations to get into the building, like popping hinges? Are you trying to avoid that, or are you just going to scope, do your recon, and basically pick the weakest link? And
it's a good question.
There.
We often don't get the thumbs up for destructive entry for obvious reasons. They have to pay to fix that.
Right.
If it is a secure area, if you're going into a SCIF, if I alter any of the locks or anything with that, it could potentially decertify the room, and they would have to have someone guard the room 24 hours until it was recertified. So there's a lot of things to consider there, but in areas where it's not classified or not a secured area, we have a little more wiggle room. We have removed door hinges. That's funny, especially in the middle of the night when you hear some clinking, and then you hear a big thud because it's a very heavy industrial door. Those are not the most fun to put back on, by the way, but it works. So, so we will do things like that. We have popped a few latches on windows, but we were okay with that because these are
very semi-destructive, like where you can you're not going to do a whole lot of harm if you pop a door off the hinge,
right?
Versus breaking a window,
right? If homelessness is a concern for a client, we will assess windows and doors and see how easy can I pop open this window and climb in. We're trying to think like whatever the threat is for that location. So, yeah.
Do you do all your assessments completely covert, or do you ever walk around jointly and kind of just, and with the customer say, I would normally do this, I would use a vape to, trigger that motion detection, get in here, just the reason why I ask that is because I feel like, for a typical corporate office, they might get a little bit more mileage, out of that engagement by being able to find the breadth of all the different ways that you could possibly impact. Do you guys ever do assessments like that?
We do. Something that we offer that not a lot of people do is we'll kind of do a hybrid. So we'll do the covert part first. We'll do our thing. We'll escalate until someone catches us, because we want to give them a win. We don't want to just go beat them up and tell them their baby's ugly, all of that stuff. So we'll give them a chance. Sometimes it happens faster than other times. There have been times where I've literally done jumping jacks in front of a security camera at 3 a.m. or turned over a shredder bin and shaken it out on the floor in front of a camera, trying to get a response. So we'll start covert, we'll escalate, we'll make sure we're hitting all of our goals. When we're done, we have a meeting with the client. Here's what we did. And then we will do a walkthrough where we can say, here's how we did. We'll actually teach them how to exploit these things so that if they want to get it fixed, they can try it on their own. Because, why not?
Right.
If there's a building that's a bit more tough or some areas we avoided because we didn't want to get caught in that area, then we will walk through with the client at the end so that we can basically play around with really no consequence. A few times we've had clients request that it's overt or a guided walkthrough, as we call it, with no covert, just because they didn't want to ruffle feathers. There's a lot of politics involved, but we do offer both.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Now, if someone is already working in offensive security or wants to like get better at what you do, where do they start? Now, I go to DEPCON and I see people just swarming the lockpick village. But one thing I've known being in this industry and working with guys like yourself is that they're not spending a considerable amount of time picking locks in all these engagements. But yeah, the picking locks is pretty cool. Let's not lie.
It's fun.
Where should someone start if they want to gain these skills?
So there's a few different ways. A lot of times if you have like military or law enforcement experience, that kind of opens the door quite a bit. If that's not an option, work for a pen test company or a security company that offers covert entry, or we've even given advice to people that they work at places that don't have that. So we're like, well, just start it, offer that, talk to your manager or whatever, your team. And so they went from a place that didn't have that at all to now they're leading that service offering. Something else that I hear a lot too, are people like, I'm really good at lying. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm really good at just walking into a place. Can you hire me? Like, well, that's a good question. So once you're in, what are you going to do on their network? How are you going to compromise their network? Well, I don't know. So it really helps to have net pen experience, even more on like the, what we would call like red team side, where you're exploiting and evading like detections on systems. That is, if you can do that and you can do the physical bypass and you have the personality where you can stay calm and you can, blow smoke with someone and just kind of go off the cuff. Some people just can't do it. They get nervous. They don't know what to say. So there's a lot of,
you need
a lot of
multiple
things.
disciplines.
Yeah. And that's the thing. People think, well, I can just walk into this building and now I can do covert entry. What are you going to do once you're inside the building? Once you talk to people, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So if you can become a generalist, that's kind of the very generic, broad answer there. So
now you do a lot of drone hacking as well.
Yes, we do.
Tell us a little bit more about the things that you're hacking with drones and exploiting.
So with Dark Wolf, one of the cool things I got to be a part of was helping to create the methodology for drone hacking for the DIU. And so we were able to go through and kind of figure this out, and they use that now. It's changed a bit since we first built it about a year or two ago, but a lot of the stuff that we work and what we're doing at Black Hat, you can come sit down at our lab with no experience and learn how to do a basic like drone hacking assessment. So with that, we will assess the radios. What frequencies are they using? Are they encrypted? Can we get to the web interface of the radio and jack with the settings? On the components of the drone itself, they usually have different payloads. We'll just say cameras for now. Can we access the data on that camera remotely? If we get physical access, can we then go look at Mavlink and see everywhere the drone flew, including where it took off? So from OPSEC standpoint, if I know where your pilot was after I obtained your drone, then I kind of know where you're operating from based on your flight path. If you're circling, helps me get an idea of what your purpose was. If they're using SSH or something, is it a poor password? So we just kind of look at the general settings. We'll look at firmware. We've had instances where we were able to dump the firmware and there were hard-coded credentials, and we essentially took over the entire code repo of the company, and it wasn't a part of that drone. It was just in a piece of the firmware. So just kind of a broad view of everything.
You got a collection of different vulnerabilities that you can exploit with these things. Have you found that the space has gotten better with security? Because I remember back in the day, security wasn't even like thought of and wasn't even baked into some of these products. Now I imagine that's getting better, hopefully.
It is. So with the methodology I talked about, that was for a few different programs, green and blue SUAS, which stands for Small Unmanned Aerial Systems. So if you, for example, if you have a company that you create drones and you're trying to sell it to the government for them to use, whether it's for like search and rescue, fire departments, recon that police might use during a large event, something like that, it now has to meet certain standards before they will approve it to be purchased for any sort of, official use. So in that sense, it has changed drastically. That's caught the attention of, I think, most drone makers. So they've really been stepping up their game. We've started to see some really, really solid systems. So yeah, thankfully, it's improved.
Nice.
So
nice. Well, I could keep talking about this for hours. Same. Unfortunately, that's all that we have time for. Brent, thanks for coming on, and thanks for all that you do in this space.
thanks. I really appreciate the invite.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
If you've made it this far, do me a favor and check out what we do at Sprocket Security. If you're ever in need of a penetration test and you want that hybrid scalable approach, the always testing, always on, not this fake click a button, do a pen test 2 weeks and then do that 5 times a year. No, I mean always on, always testing, latest bleeding edge threat that comes out there, latest exploit, phishing, all the way to, defense evading, covert operations, whatever type of pen test you need. We'll do it as frequently as possible, and we'll also provide a platform for us to interact together. I've devoted the last 5 years of my life to building penetration testing and innovating upon it and changing it so you can actually do security testing, proactive security testing, in a much better way. Give it a shot. Check us out, www.sprocketsecurity.com.